Hi everyone, it's Michelle Lloyd here, founder of United Art Space. Happy Monday. So every Monday I go live at 11 and this week it's Let's Make Art Together, art relief sessions that I created a few months ago when we went into lockdown, which have continued on because everyone really loves these sessions where I bring in a guest and we do a demo. And so today I'm really happy that Donna Mcghie is with us. She is one of my members. Welcome, Donna. Thank you for joining us. So Donna's one of my members and she uses Powertex. And so we were talking the other week about doing a demo and Donna said, yeah, I could come in and show everyone how to use it. So I'm really excited to see this because I have no idea what this medium is. I've got a feeling I've come across it before. So I'm going to be really watching with my notebook and taking it all in. So Donna, I'm going to hand over to you. Everyone's hopping on. I think everyone can hear us and see us fine, which is great. So I'll hand over to you, Donna, to explain what Powertex is. And I know you've got some more things to share with us as you go along. I will make Donna's screen full view now, but I'll still be in the background. So if you have any questions as we go along, please just ask and I will ask Donna as we go. So welcome, Donna. Thank you.
Yeah, and I'm going to move my camera down so you can see.
Yeah, okay.
Hopefully it'll work. Right. Okay, so you can see in here, yeah?
Yeah, we can see, yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I'm going to be, I'm a Powertex tutor. Powertex is a fabric hardener, but you can make it into a clay. You can do so much with it. It's amazing stuff. And I was saying to Michelle earlier, my favorite thing about it is literally any age, any ability can use it and make really stunning things with it. Comes in all colors. I'm going to be using the ivory one today. And I've brought a few Blue Peter ones I made earlier to show you because it does take a bit of a while to dry. So I'm going to talk through making something, a canvas similar to that.
Wow, look at that three-dimensional part. Is that with the Powertex or is that an additional like collage?
That is a just an old fabric flower that I picked up.
Yeah.
Second-hand shop, soaked in Powertex.
Wonderful.
So everything on there is upcycled. It's all bits of old jewellery, bits of corrugated cardboard from packing.
Wow, amazing.
Bits of old lace.
Yeah, you take the items and then cover them in the Powertex to stick in them. Wonderful. Yeah. Okay.
You're best off material-wise. You're best off using a natural fabric like a cotton, especially if you're sculpting and you want it to go outside.
Yeah.
A natural fibre will be weather resistant, whereas a synthetic one, it won't dry as hard and it won't be weather resistant. Okay. But I will still use them sometimes for something inside because it won't matter so much.
Yeah, and when you say inside outside, do you mean where the art will actually be going when it's finished?
Say if I made a sculpture and I wanted to go outside, it takes 3 weeks to cure.
Yeah.
And then as long as I've used a natural fibre, it will be weather resistant outside.
Oh, I'm going to make notes here. Okay, wonderful.
I always say to people, treat it like your favourite plant, though. I wouldn't trust it if like a complete mega storm came over. I'd probably bring it in to be on the safe side. But yeah, generally they're weather resistant for being outside.
Wonderful. Okay.
So I thought that the easiest thing to show would be a canvas, but you can just adapt it to anything. I use my old jeans for making my water pots. Anything at all. Nothing's safe really. Once you get into it, my husband hates it because our house looks like a hoarder's house. I've got bits I'm going to upcycle everywhere.
So when you say a water pot,
that's an old jam jar.
Oh, amazing!
And then I cut up a bit of denim with the zip because I like zips.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah. And then my water pot, I used my old dried up paint tubes. My stubby paintbrushes. Everything gets used really.
Oh, I'm totally going to glam up all my jars now after this session.
Yeah.
I love that. Oh, so wonderful.
It ticks a lot of boxes. It ticks the upcycling box. It ticks a load of boxes, but especially kids love making little. I make little trick-or-treat jars with kids with little skeleton faces on.
Yeah.
All sorts you can do.
Wonderful.
So before we started, I just quickly covered my canvas. You can see it's a scrappy old canvas. I never use decent anything really. I just use old ones, usually that I get from the tip when I was allowed to go to the tip. I don't go there anymore, but old canvases. No, synthetic fabric does it. You can use synthetic fabric, but it won't dry as hard and it won't be weather resistant. So the best thing to go for is something that's 70% natural and over, and that will dry completely hard and be completely weather resistant.
Okay, interesting.
So I've poured my Powertex out into a little jar or tub. The other thing to remember, only pour out what you think you're going to need, which I'm rubbish at. I always pour too much out because I won't then be able to pour that back into the tub. It doesn't like it kind of separates a little bit on itself.
Yeah.
But what I can do is cover that with a lid and that will keep for about a week. But your best option is only pour out what you need, which I haven't quite got the hang of yet. And then I've got a little tub here of complete rubbish that I picked up this morning. I quite like using the old spoons that I pick up in little second-hand shops.
Lovely. And so is Powertex a plastic or like what?
No, it's water-based.
Is it water-based?
Don't ask me the exact how it's made. I think it's a closely guarded secret, but it's water-based.
Yeah.
It's completely non-toxic.
Yeah.
If you're using it and you're messy like I am, always put a floor cover down.
Yeah.
And by the very nature of it, if you get it on your clothes, as you can see, it won't come off. So
Right.
again, if you're doing it with kids, make sure they're completely covered up.
Yeah.
If it gets on your skin, it will peel off like, PVA glue.
Yeah.
It's quite fun peeling it off your skin, but it's a good idea to wear gloves. And then gloves, I have a complex about them because they're rubber. So I will put my gloves, I rinse my hands off, put my gloves in like a little laundry, those mesh laundry bags, and put them in the washing machine, and then I'll use them again and again and again, so I don't feel too guilty.
Oh, okay, good idea.
Equally, the plastic tubs I put it in, I let that harden off completely, any remnants, and then I can peel it off and use that again. But not only that, the bits that I peel off are really interesting shapes, and I'll use those on canvases then. So I'm like a little womble, I don't throw anything away. So usually, if I'm doing a workshop, someone once told me I'm an organic worker. I don't plan, I just put it as it goes. But if I'm doing a workshop, I'll say to people, make a little map out of what you want to go where. So for instance, I've got that lovely bit of jewellery I picked up. Thought he could go down there. That's just an old paper doily. And all of that will come out really nicely. String, I use loads and loads of string.
Is Powertex something you can get in most countries, do you know, Donna?
I think it's in an awful lot of countries now. It originated in Belgium.
Right.
But yeah, you can get it most countries, and you can order it online as well. I've got a little heart there that I've stenciled beforehand because those patterns will come up. So that would go there. Another piece of old jewellery that can go there. So you would map out the pattern or picture that you want. I always say to people, take a photo if you're an exact person, and then you can refer back to it. I don't, because I kind of always change my mind as I go along. But I've got a rough idea of what I want to go where. And then I take my bit of cotton. That's an old sheet. I get old sheets from second-hand shops. Make sure they're natural fibre, and wash them, and then just keep them ready for cutting up. And then soak it. This is the bit people either love or hate. This bit. You want to soak it in your Powertex, and you want to make sure it's completely covered. Just put that in. but not dripping wet, otherwise it will take too long to dry. And then the trick is to scrunch it up as much as possible. And then when you're dry brushing, once this is dried, all these little crinkles will stand out. Go there. Got my funny little bit there. And again, just gently cover it. And the tiniest bit of texture will stand out once it's hardened and once we dry brush it. Just put that there like that. Now if I want to put my container, that's what it's like. It's a liquid, so you always shake it before pouring it out.
Yeah.
And if you store it, don't store it in a cold shed because it likes room temperature. Again, if you store it too cold, it will separate on itself again.
Okay.
Now, because this is kind of quite metallic, this spoon, I'm going to give it a little cushion almost, so that I'll make sure that it stays in place when I put it on. And I can use that, either a bit of material or a bit of old paper towel. It's just such fun to play with. And again, if I put something down and I don't like it, I can just pick it up and move it. This is one of my old tops, my favourite old tops that I had for ages, and eventually even I wouldn't wear it anymore. It's too holey. So, but that will be nice because that's got all that texture. You're welcome. That's got all that texture going on. Hessian's really nice to use with it. I mean, I'm doing this really quickly. Obviously, if I was taking at home on my own, I would take a little bit longer. But you can already see that once that's dried and we've got colour on that, that will look really, really nice. Sometimes. Sorry.
Sorry, Donna. I was just going to ask. Do you think the gloves are important, or
for this they are? You don't have to, and I know a lot of people who actually don't use gloves. But for this bit, it is really messy. But if you don't want to use gloves, you don't have to.
It's okay. Yeah.
Yeah. It won't do you any harm at all. It will just be really messy. So again, I'll make a little cushion of material for my little elephant to go on. I'm talking to myself now about what I'm going to put where. I just love how anything, I mean, I don't know about you, at the moment I'm getting loads of stuff from Amazon, and all the packaging you can rip up and use rather than it going to waste. I like to use real keys, old real keys, but you can use the MDF ones as well. Steampunk, you can do so much steampunk type things with it. Hats are always popular. Make a little cushion for that. And Halloween, you can do loads of things for Halloween with it. Yeah, it's similar to Mod Rock Siobhan. Just to show you, I wouldn't normally put it in with this picture, but that's just a bit of the corrugated cardboard. I'll just stick that down there. String. I kind of always put a bit of string in somewhere. I don't know why, it's just something I do. And feathers, I use feathers a lot. And with feathers, I will either stick them on and leave them non-covered, or I'll soak them and they go quite stiff. And then this lace here is synthetic, but I will still use it because this won't be going outside. But kids are brilliant. Kids love doing it, and I've done it quite a bit with older people who don't have much mobility in their hands, and they like it. You might need to squeeze the fabric out a bit for them, but they enjoy doing it as well. And you could make a lovely memory board with an old person or older person doing something like this.
Lottie's asking, does Powertex dry white or clear?
It will dry whatever colour Powertex you're using. So I'm using ivory, so it will dry this colour. You can get a transparent Powertex. That one isn't weather resistant, or you can use, there's different colours. You can use black, they've got yellow, they've got bronze. Bronze is quite nice because things really do look like they're made out of bronze once it's dry. So it will dry, unless it's transparent, it will dry the colour of whatever you're using. So as you can see, I'm a messy worker. So if I've got it on my elephant and I want it off while it's still wet, I can just wipe it off.
Dorota's asking, can this technique be used on wood instead of canvas?
Yes, definitely. I will use it on anything. Because wood's natural, you can just put it straight onto the wood. If it was a varnished wood, what I would do is put a layer of masking tape on it first. And then it needs something to soak into or to grip onto. So I do memory boots for people where they bring along a boot or a shoe of someone who's passed away, and they Powertex it and they put lots of different bits that relate to that person on. And if it's a leather boot, you can just go straight onto it. And if it's like a synthetic boot, we just cover the boot with masking tape first, and then you can put your Powertex on top of that. So whilst it's wet, you can just clean it off if you want to. Again, sometimes I will cover them. And if I wanted to cover these and they're too shiny, I'd put a bit of hairspray on. That gives it that grip again.
Okay. Thomasina's asking, do you wrap fabric around hard objects for support, or will it actually act as glue?
It acts as a glue. So once it takes, it's like a super glue. Sometimes you need to help it along a little bit. So I don't know, good example. If say with one of these and I'd wrapped it around and it wasn't taking, I would, because it's glass, sometimes I'll put some masking tape around there first and then wrap around. But if it's just not taking, I would then put a bit of cling film around it, because the cling film is synthetic, it won't stick to it, and you can just keep that around it until it takes, and then you can take the cling film away. Usually it will stay though. So it's a really, really quick beginning of my canvas. And I could also then go on and put some stencils like that on the extra bits. Guess I'll be. In all honesty, I haven't tried that, gesso instead of masking tape, but as long as it's got a little bit of bite to it, it probably would be okay, yeah.
It's one of those you've got to test out, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I would just put this over here and I'll show you. This is, say, that's my first stage. And I'll take this. Sorry.
Eva's asking, do the glued objects stay in the Powertex, or do they snap off from hardened surface?
They usually stay there. If they don't, you can normally tell straight away. If you put them down and they stay, they're going to stay. If you can still pick them up without that little bit of effort once they're on, then I would make the little cushion either out of a little tiny bit of paper or a tiny bit of material, and then sometimes they just need a little bit of cushion. But usually once there's they'll be stuck on there really hard. So oh, I've just got some on my little bit there. So here's my blue Peter one I made earlier. And again, usually if I do a workshop, I give people an old scrappy old canvas to practice on before going ahead to what they're going to do. That's why you've got a bit of pink showing through. But that's one I bunged on together yesterday.
Wow, it's so cool.
That's really, really hard. Apart from this, and that's because that little rose was a synthetic-y, I think it was an acrylic wool. And you can see the difference. That one's not as hard. But because it's just going on this canvas, I don't mind. So you could use plastic weight for more. Yeah, the plastic won't stick because it's synthetic. But you could use a plastic to weigh something down. Yeah, definitely.
Lucyanne is asking, could you use twigs, branches, leaves, and other autumn finds? Thinking of the kids.
I use them all the time. You need to make sure they're really dried out. But twigs, I use twigs. I love using twigs. I make little gnomes holding twigs and leaves. Just make sure they're really, really dried out thoroughly before you use them. But yeah, that's one of my favourite things to use. So once it's like this, I spray it with Bista or inks. Any spray ink or Bista or anything like that is nice to use. What I always say about Bista, it's made of walnut shells, so just be cautious if you've got nut allergy or anything. And this bit can be a little bit scary because it goes on really, really dark. So I'm going to try a different colour up here. That's blue. So it will go on dark, but don't worry because you can wipe it back. And you can put as many colours on as you want. It doesn't have to be dark, like you can use real rainbow ink colours like that little chap there. So, you know, you can just do whatever kind of colours take your fancy. And this will take about a couple of hours to harden, enough to do this. But if you want to speed it up, you can use a hairdryer on it. Yes, you can use any medium on it at all, Eva. So I'd spray it with my Bista and my inks and either put that aside to dry or again use a hairdryer on it.
Wow, look at how
yeah,
it's amazing.
I love it because it goes into I'll put some stencils on here and Hessian, and it goes into all the little crinkles. And then once it's dry, so I've gone for a Halloween theme for the dry. See, I've used an old plastic skeleton head from the pound shop. I've put some stencils on here. Again, this is one I did yesterday to show you how you dry brush at the end. So this, I've gone quite dark and Halloween-y for this one. What I do now is get a baby wipe or a sponge or something wet and damp, and I can start to wipe away the Bista a little bit where it's darker than I want it to be. I don't know if you can see how that's starting to come away. And you just get the and I like this because it ends up looking really old. And if you rub away too much, you can just put some more Bista back on. I like how suddenly it starts to look really kind of old and shabby. You can see there I've used an old key that I found. So everything on this little skull is synthetic. He's synthetic, and then I've put synthetic flowers around. But because it's not going outside, I can do that.
Camille's asking, just the beginning, what's the difference of using Powertex versus a gel medium? Do you know?
I think the difference is, I don't use gel medium, so I don't know about that. But the difference is the fact that it hardens. So it will harden up, and like I can get this bit of material here to stick up because I put a bit of I put one of my old rubber gloves underneath there to keep that in place until it dried, and now that bit sticks up.
So it kind of sculpts it at the same time.
You can that's it. You can sculpt with it, yeah. So this one here, you can see I rubbed away quite a bit to get that really light bit going on. So all of that there, that's a stencil that I put on beforehand, and that's all starting to stick out now. It is lovely for using. They've got a website, Lucyanne, Powertex UK, or they've got tutors all around the country. I'm based in Southampton. There's tutors all around the country that you can buy Powertex from, or if not, go to just www.powertex.co.uk.
Bhavana's asking, if you want to use a small piece of wood, do I have to put cotton below it?
What, as in on the canvas, putting it on the canvas?
I think so.
What I would do is put it on first on the wet Powertex and see if it feels like it's going to take. You'll know immediately if you'll be able to feel that just a little bit of hold with it. And if it doesn't do that, then I would put a tiny bit of cotton underneath to make that little cushion.
Camille's asking, is it a UK product or is it available in the USA?
I'm fairly sure you can get it in the USA now. I think you can. I'm sure you can. Again, I'll just Google Powertex USA and hopefully website will come up. Oh. So there, me butterflies falling off, so I can just stick that back on with a little bit of Powertex.
I've just Googled it and you can buy it in the USA, yeah.
Yeah, thank you. My butterflies come off, so I'll stick that back on again once I've finished. Well, the other thing, if that just comes off, I can just put a bit of super glue or something on and stick that on. I will stick one in a minute. Now, once I've got it brushed back as much as I want, I could keep going and get it really light if I wanted to. The final thing that I will do is dry brush over. Again, you can use acrylics, you can use pigments, but you can also just dry brush over with your Powertex. You want to make sure that your brush is not soaking wet with the Powertex and just, I don't know if you can see then, all those bits, all those textures are starting to stand out a bit now. So again, I can really start to lighten it up now if it's darker than I wanted it to be. You see how you can see this bit of Hessian is really starting to come to life now. And this lace bit down here. So to dry brush, I just put it in the Powertex and then wipe it off on a towel. And then keeping my brush flat, just skim over the top.
Do you know what the main ingredient is of Powertex?
I don't, I'm afraid, no. I'm not curious, I just go with it. I'm not sure what the main thing. And like I say, I know it's water-based.
Yeah, that's one to Google, Bhavana.
Yeah. I'm like with the car, I don't mind how it works. I just get in and turn it on. You can make it into a clay. You can mix it with what's called stone art powder and it makes a clay. Yes, you can mix it with things like food, colouring or acrylic before it hardens. What you have to bear in mind though, Thomasina, that it then won't be guaranteed to be weather resistant and it won't be guaranteed to harden as much. To get it to crack, you can put some wet Powertex on your canvas or whatever, spray some biscuit on it, and then blow dry that with a hairdryer, starting high up and then working down, and then you get some really nice little cracks going on. And there is also a thing called 3D Flex. You can mix 3D Flex with your Powertex, and that makes a clay that develops crackles as well, if you put some heat on it. Yeah, crackles are brilliant to work with. And I like doing the crackly thing, if I'm doing like a 3D ocean scene, I'll pour some blue and white on and then put some greeny biscuit on and blow dry, and then you get like almost like a foam type texture coming up. And quite often I'll do that. I'll spray some biscuit on like a skull and then dry it. So you get lots of little creepy crackles coming up on that. I won't do because I haven't got it ready, but I could add iridescent micas or pigments or whatever onto this now as well to make it look quite spooky.
And next asking, how long does it take to create these hardens?
You can do it really quick, or you can take as long as you want. I mean, that bit that I just did, you saw I did it in about probably 20 minutes. And then if I wanted to dry it in a hurry, I would dry it, and that would take about 10 minutes. Spray it with my blisters, dry again. It doesn't take long to dry the blister, and then just dry brush on the top. So you could create a bit like this in an hour if you were in a rush, or you can do it over a couple of days, or you can spend ages rearranging the bits that you want. I'm a quick worker. I'm an impatient worker. Which, again, I think that's why I like Powertex, because I can work really quickly with it. This didn't take me long at all to throw together yesterday. Michelle will tell you I was panicking about this and wanted to make sure that I was prepared, but I procrastinate. So at the last minute, I quickly put that together. I thought, oh, Halloween, I'll do a Halloween one. And it didn't take me long at all. But I know people who spend hours getting something in exactly the right position. It depends which way you work. The blister that I use, that one, it comes in different colours, and that's a Powertex blister. But again, I think you can get different brands of blister. I'm sure you can. I think I know some people who even make their own. And yeah, I use the Powertex spray inks, but you can use any spray ink at all. or you can use any mica powder. Tip I was going to tell you about using the spray inks. I will quite often, especially if I'm working with children, I'll sprinkle biodegradable glitter over, and it would just stay there. And I've done ones and looked at them years later, and the glitter's still there. So yeah, and I quite often will use sand in with it. Either mix some sand in with it and then spread it on with a spatula, or sprinkle some sand into the wet Powertex. Again, you can make lovely beach scenes like that. When you're using an ink or blister, I used to always get them that they used to really clog up a lot. So what I do now, once I've sprayed, I'll take that off, put it in a one with clean water and just spray until it comes out clean, and that will stop those little clogs that you get that happen in the nozzles. So I used to waste loads like that. So yeah, that's a little tip. If you're using sprays, give them a clean spray until they come out clear, and that stops those little nozzles. What I'll do, I'll quickly put this back in place. What's it? I can't be a devil now. I'll go in with some wet blister.
Joel's asking if you have any more tutorials, because they know someone that might be interested. I think you run workshops, don't you, Donna? Do you want
I do. I'm just going online with workshops, which is doing my head in. I'm doing some video tutorials that you can buy. I'm doing a baby orangutan one at the moment. That's a sculpture. So they're available. There's loads of learning tutorials though. If you Google Powertex tutorials, there's lots on YouTube. There's one from me on YouTube doing upcycling an old paintbrush, stubby paintbrush, into a magic wand. But there's loads of tutorials out there. I said to Michelle, when I mentioned, I'm just starting getting back out doing in-person workshops, and I call them Art for Heart workshops because in 2016 my husband had a heart transplant. So when I do the Art for Heart workshops, I donate some money to Papworth Hospital charity as a little way of saying thank you. And I've been gutted because since March I've not been able to do them, but I'm just starting getting back out there doing them. And hopefully if I can get these online tutorials going as well, I can start to donate a bit more money back, because it means an awful lot to be able to run those workshops, because I love running them, but also I just feel that I need to be doing something to say thank you, and I haven't been able to do it for most of this year. Oh. So you can see how messy I am. I've just made a sprinkle along there. So yeah, absolutely, Judy, absolutely, yeah. I do that a lot. And if you wanted to have the dress kind of flowing out a bit, what you can do, you can put your fabric, again, I'll use old rubber gloves, a lot of stuff, and you can stuff some old rubber gloves up the skirt or the dress, let it harden, and then when you pull those away, because they're synthetic, they won't stay. It will stay in whatever position you've molded it to. So that's kind of that's I've gone quite dark for that one, and I will probably keep going, lightening it up a bit along here, but hopefully you can see the variety of ways that you can use it. Kids will love making, and adults actually, making little fairy houses out of the old jam jars. There's just so many ways that you can use it. And you can see as well what I mean when I say that, you know, any age, any ability can make something like that. So yeah, I think I'll keep going along there. I think that's pretty much it, Michelle. I think hopefully that's given a good taster, as it were.
So many people have been saying thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. I'll go back up here. I'll just quickly show you that. That's the kind of thing you can make when you sculpt. That's my little tutorial, my little baby orangutan.
Oh, that's lovely.
So yeah, you can do all sorts with it.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Donna.
You're welcome.
Oh, Judy's asking what charity you donate to.
Oh, bless you. It's the, thank you so much. It's the Royal Papworth Hospital charity. Thank you, Judy.
Isn't that nice?
They do amazing, amazing work. That's made me choke up, actually. Thank you.
Yeah, Lisa said, look, my head's full of ideas right now. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Lots of lovely comments coming in.
Oh, so nervous. I'm so pleased people enjoy it. Thank you.
I know. Yeah, I just want to say that, you know, usually before everyone comes on, they're terrified to do the sessions. So thank you, Donna, because I know you were feeling the nerves, but everyone's absolutely loved it and you came across so well. And it's so generous of you to share your time with us today to do that. So thank you.
Thank you.
And so, yeah, people can go and look you up on social media, can't they?
Yes.
And if you send me the links, we can pop those in the comments so that people can go and have a look.
Brilliant, yes. Yeah.
And follow you. Has anyone got any final questions before we wrap up? Everyone's just saying, so thank you. So generous of you to share. It really is. Yeah, no, I think that's it. So thank you so much, Donna. Is there anything else to add before we go?
No, just thank you for letting me do it and for being so supportive of my nerves beforehand.
No, you're so welcome. I'm really grateful that you came because everyone's absolutely loved it. And we will put this into the UAS makers area inside the hub as well, so all of our members have access to it. And so thank you so much. Thank you for joining us, everyone. And we'll see you soon. Take care. Bye.
Bye.